here again. Oh, man. Oh, we could use prune. But prune is better for Varka. Wait, actually, I'm pretty sure at this point we should do this. We're gonna have a Varka team, and we're gonna need 2 more teams, right? So who are the contenders? Arlecchino? Kanich? Oh, I don't think so. Unironically, Shao? Yeah, no, that's fucking delusional. There might be a world where you just yoink Linnea so you can get a Geo carry. But I don't know. Like, you get a lot worse. Only one of these. Yeah, like at that point, we're gonna struggle to break 100k. Yeah. I don't think that's worth it. And we're not even getting Colombina for the Linnea wheelchair stuff. Who else would be a consideration here? I guess we can think about Neuvillette. So Varka is always getting Nicole and Prune. Arlecchino might be cooked. Kanich might be cooked. How cooked are we? Trying to make Kanich work without Eonson or Bennett. Who's the last slot in Varka? Can't use Durin because we definitely are going to need Durin somewhere else. We probably do use Bennett. Or maybe we keep Bennett for someone else. The last slot in Mawika then. And that frees up Bennett, because I'm pretty sure this team is still pretty solid. 150 crit rate Mawika, yay. I mean, if you're not on Serpent Spine, Rosaria plus Cryo Resonance is basically just as much crit rate as you would get from Serpent Spine. Dude, it is actually kind of crazy though. There's like no downside to using Shilonen for this, because like no one else wants her. What is y'all doing that? This is not a tier list. This is just, I'm using a tier maker to organize characters. It's kind of funny that the best team here is the Flint's team, but I mean, fuck, Flint needs full premium to be here. Is that even better than this? It's probably not, right? I think we are gonna use Neuvillette, but we don't have Colombina or Farina, so maybe not. Ooh, Skirk is too cooked if you lose Farina, I think. Bro, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I think we keep Nicole and we use Bennett here so that we can use Nicole for Kanich. I just realized now we don't. Now we need Durin on both of these teams. Are we doing this? I think we're doing this. Is that even 100k? Oh, Prune is really good. But I guess now we don't have a Pyro character to use the set. Ooh, wait, you're right. Because I was like, you still get a lot of the effects of the patch even if you are using Nicole or Durin. But I guess without Nicole or Durin, you don't get to use the Hexarai support set. Ooh, it might be cooked then. Albedo Geo Obligation is really slow, so you should be able to keep burning on the enemy for all of Kanich's uptime just from Nicole's Pyro app. Fischl over Albedo, well, what I just mentioned won't be the case with Fischl. Nicole has Pyro app, she hits with Pyro when you swap to her. Without external interference, burning stays on enemy, like Pyro stays on enemy when burning is over. You don't need to reapply Pyro. Albedo will trigger Crystallize, but you need to trigger Crystallize 4 times to remove burning. That takes a fucking long-ass time in these teams. Kanich, literally any Pyro that hits with Pyro once. Should have brought a way to get through the fucking shield fast, man. Because if I use Kanich's skill, the Kanich's skill will be on cooldown. What's the... I did not know it did that attack in Stygian. Okay. So, we do this.
Now just...
Okay, we can see how long the burning lasts. So almost the full skill. So you might get 4E instead of 5E. I guess that is a lot worse, huh? I mean, what's the alternative if we're not doing this? Maybe use Klee? No Durin, though. No Chaleurs. Unironically, probably this. Or maybe we bring out Venti for Varka and we use Prune here. Getting the Pyro Swirl won't be that... Like, you won't have good uptime on your Pyro Swirl if you do this. Probably with Klee and Versa with Xianyan. I don't think Versa with Xianyan makes it here. Buzza, you're actually kind of cooking right now. I actually kind of agree with that. I think Arlecchino is the best last slot for this Versa team. Right, no access to Bennett, Durin, or Mawika. I think Arlecchino is the next best one. I think it's better than PMC. I mean, fuck, we don't have access to PMC anyways, yeah. I'm pretty sure that's true. That's Rage Bait. It's not. Is there a better alternative for Yehuda there? Sugos is kind of just so much better than everyone else. If you're not... Like, you could use Prune, but Prune is kind of in demand elsewhere. Other than that, you kind of only have the Yehuda. Yeah. Honestly, 9 teams is completely fine. It's the 10th team that really cooks us here. Why not Neuvillette Nefa Kazuha? I mean, the problem if you do that is what's your last slot? Auron? Think that gets to 100k? No hope of a Chaska sneak? I mean, again, right? No attack buffers. No Durin, no Mawika, no Farina. What the fuck are you doing with Chaska here? I I guess you can probably just tank losing Farina here. Bring Yulon here. Aino here. And maybe Nilu. Flynn's can probably tank losing Inefa since he's given Columbina. Is Sarah actually good enough here? One skill attack buff. You can get 2 on the burst. You can buff 2 mini bursts on the rotation where you have Sarah burst. And without Inefa damage, you're buffing a larger portion of your damage. So I could see it being better than Auron. But then you have the fucking age-old good luck swirling Electro. With Sarah and no off-field Electro. And that's probably too much of a hurdle. And we just go Auron. And then, is the best last law here Kazuha? Xianyuan? I don't think that's true. Xianyuan animations are even longer than Kazuha. Nivedek kind of generates enough by himself. No, this is not a team, by the way. This is the 11th one. This is where I was just putting the placeholders. Are all these 100k? I'm not sure which is the worst team here. It's probably one of these two. I'm really not sure what to expect out of the swirl setups for this one. If the swirl setups are doable, it's actually probably a pretty solid team. What's the best team here? It's Dubai. It's not even close. Maybe we could do Inefa here, Columbina out, and then use Columbina Linnea for like Nadia or something. Albedo can't benefit from the Nicole attack buff, but I guess unlike in a lot of the other teams where you could use Albedo, you are actually benefiting from the full damage buff from Albedo. Because your carry is Hexarai. You know, I think you've talked me into doing Albedo here. That makes sense. I like that. I like that a lot. That's really smart. Maybe we don't need Nicole here. Because Albedo can use the Hexarai support set. Which would mean we can do a Kanichi team here for the last one. Won't Klee deal 0 damage? I mean, you have TTDS Prune that buffs attack and damage percent. You have damage percent buff from Albedo. You have the Hexarai support set. And you also have another slot that you can use for either like an extra source of damage like Xiangling or more buffing. I think Channeling is actually pretty good here, though. You get the 15 power damage from C6 and the Shred from C1. And she also has pretty good personal damage. And you get power resonance. That seems pretty good. Like, it's not going to be better than Nicole, but I think the Klee team is good enough to tank a hit here to free up Nicole. That allows us to put this back here, put this back here, put this back here, get rid of this. Where's Lohan? Klugi. What's the Hexarai last slot for this team? One that doesn't really work. Is it just Razor? Oh, God. Yeah, I guess with Xiangling, you can get your Pyro Swirls now. I don't hate that. I don't hate that. Yeah, and then we can give Inefa back here. I guess you don't mind doing 20-second rotations with Nicole because her buff lasts longer. And it's not like Varka runs out of abilities he can use during his field time. You really don't mind it that much, do you? So you can actually burst every rotation on Xiangling. That allows us to use Bennett somewhere. Use Bennett here. Fischl can't really be used anymore because we need to get the Pyro Swirl somehow. This Kanichi team also doesn't have any real sustain, huh? Reza can use Xianyun and give Shouers to a weaker team. And like, who's your last slot? We kind of want to use Shilonen here. We kind of want to use Farina here. We do this. We do this. We do this. We do this. That looks pretty good. The last team is hurting me. You know, if you can't understand from the fact that there's 5 units in here that this isn't meant to be a team, I don't know if Maloney goes higher than this. Probably here. Or here. Not sure which one. Honestly, this is probably here as well. Honestly, this is probably here as well. Dude, this Kirk unit is such a fraud. The next best one is Arlecchino. Then... honestly, this is probably here as well. Dude, this Kirk unit is such a fraud. The next best one is Arlecchino. Then... Varka. Then Klee. Then Varessa. Honestly, maybe Varessa doesn't even make it. Because... if you don't use Varessa, you can put Farina back on this Kirk team, and you have a Neon Son you can use for something else. But I guess at that point, you just do this. Maybe you do just do this, then. What can we do with this Neon Son? Wait. Chat. Let me cook. Let me cook. Let me cook, chat. Let me cook. 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 Let me cook! Shilonen for Klee. I don't think Shilonen's better than Albedo here. Remember that Klee is a Hexarai unit, so she gets the full 42 from Albedo's passive. And Albedo's also wearing the Hexarai support set instead of Bennett. But then you're not getting Pyro in your setup, so you'd have to do extra swaps to Klee to get your swirl. That sounds wrong as well. You do free up Bennett, I guess. The rest of the team looks ass. Oh, trust. Are we really bringing 3 Natlin units that are usually on scroll in this team? That also sounds so wrong. Usually on scroll in this team. Bringing 3 Natlin units that are usually on scroll in this team. That also sounds so wrong. Is Navidad plus Soma Hyperbloom ever 100k plus without Inefa? Yeah, it is. I think the last set of teams was better. I mean, what's the weakest link here? I mean, I guess it depends on whether you're assuming Fruitful Hook R5 or not. Does Arlecchino Vape not fit? It can fit, but it's not enough damage. The only Vape Arlecchino team that would be enough damage to even make the top 10 here would be with Inefa. And at that point, like, I feel like you're gimping the rest too much. I don't have Zabai, but I have C1 in Colombina was the best team for Gecko. You can kind of just use any Geo carry with either Farina or... Farina's not really fun against Gecko, so maybe not Farina. Elua, you probably have Elua. I think Klein is better in the Klee team. Klein instead of Klee here? Fuck no. My god. That is very not true. Is that Gaming team better than the Varesa Shanyan team? I think it is with R5 Fruitful Hook, and it's not with Serpent Spine. That's correct. My god, that is very not true. Is that Gaming team better than the Varesa Shanyan team? I think it is with R5 Fruitful Hook, and it's not with Serpent Spine. That's correct. Second, she's not. I just didn't change the numbers. Are you assuming you want to Klee? I am, yeah. Still Farina for your lawn so you can play Navidad Farina. That's kind of not better than Gaming, is the problem. Dude, I don't know. It's so Fruitful Hook Refine Reliant. I don't want to include Gaming. Give this back. And then we have this available. But maybe you just do this. And you use this core for something else, like this. What's the weakest link here? Probably Kanich. No attack buffer Kanich. We get the 45 attack from this, but it isn't that much, that's true. Who'd you give Bennett? Klee. It's kind of rough to do anything else here. Won't a lunar team without Columbina be higher than a bunch of the teams you have below 4 or 5? I mean, we have the lunar teams up here. All 3 of the lunar cores. I mean, okay, unironically, it might be a... What Hydro would we use here? Does it matter? Not really. Problem is the last slot for this team. Like, no Farina, no Eat Lua. Does kind of hurt. I guess you do this. Maybe Chiori. Goro. I feel like we need Goro here. If we're doing one cost Zabai, I think we need to have, like, all the best options for this. What's the optimization target? We're trying to optimize so that the worst of these 10 teams has the highest DPS. I think Skirk can use Candace or Dahlia. Where the fuck are you using Farina then? What's the optimization target? We're trying to optimize so that the worst of these 10 teams has the highest DPS. I think Skirk can use Candace or Dahlia. Trying to optimize so that the worst of these 10 teams has the highest DPS. I think
Democratic Party entryist, faux anti-imperialist, Mike from PA, made a video called Majority Report is Right. Graham Plattner is base. Well, it's a stream clip, but you know, it's edited down into a video, I suppose. So we're going to be responding to this. And I already know that he's either just going to gloss over Plattner's real history as a disgusting American mass murderer who hasn't repented for his crimes even slightly, or is just like going to lie about them and apologize for them even. So I'm going to first give you guys a bit of a summary here as to Graham Plattner's past and all of that, like the story so far. Now, I've already gone over this 1,000 times before. I've already shown the evidence for this 1,000 times before. So if you want this in way more detail, all of the evidence for everything that I'm saying here, you should check out my main channel video for this called The American Supremacist Left and Graham Plattner on the Bad Empanada channel. That's the one with the purple avatar, not the one that you're watching right now with the orange avatar. This is a 2-hour-long video essay with sources for every single claim that I'm going to make here regarding Graham Plattner, okay? Everything you're going to hear is in there. If you are a regular viewer of my channel, you've heard this all before. I'm sorry I'm going over it again. I'm just trying to do this in a way that will give the people who don't have this context the context that they need to understand what's actually going on here. Because if I don't, you know, if I just assume everyone already knows precisely what's going on, there's going to be people who don't. So, as I went over in this video, the origin of Graham Plattner as like this guy running for Senate in Maine is that this Democratic Party consulting called Fight Agency, who ran the Fetterman campaign, went to Maine looking for someone to run there for a campaign they were envisioning for Maine Senate in the Democratic Party. They wanted someone who they could mold to be like whoever they wanted them to be. And they wanted someone who was like a white, gruff, military veteran type guy to be like the puppet of the people in this consulting firm and do whatever they want, basically. And they found Graham Plattner. They went there scouting for who would do this, and they found Graham Plattner, and they convinced him to do it. So now you have Graham Plattner, this guy who's supposedly like a progressive firebrand shaking up the Democratic Party, but he's actually molded to be like a controlled opposition figure by Fight Agency. But that's not the worst. Graham Plattner's history. The Democratic Plattner, this guy do this, and they found Graham Plattner, and they convinced him to do it. So now you have Graham Plattner, this guy who's supposedly like a progressive firebrand shaking up the Democratic Party, but he's actually, and they found Graham Plattner. They went there scouting for who would do this, and they found Graham Plattner, and they convinced him to do it. So now you have Graham Plattner, this guy who's supposedly like a progressive firebrand shaking up the Democratic Party, but he's actually molded to be like a controlled opposition figure by Fight Agency. But that's not the worst. Graham Plattner's history is that they were for who would do this, and they found Graham Plattner, and they convinced him to do it. So now you have Graham Plattner, this guy who's supposedly like a progressive firebrand shaking up the Democratic Party, but he's actually molded to be like a controlled opposition figure by Fight Agency. But that's not the worst. Graham Plattner's history is that he went on 5 tours with the American military, something like 2 to Iraq, or 3 to Iraq, and 2 to Afghanistan, something like that. One of them was as a mercenary for Blackwater. Yes, the Blackwater Mercenary Company. He chose, like the last one was with them. Crazy, right? And Graham Plattner said himself that the reason why he joined the US military is because he just really wanted to fight in war. First, he tried to join the French Foreign Legion. His parents were rich, and they were paying for him to go to college, but he didn't want to go to college. He dropped out. So they paid for him to take a gap year to Europe, like a 1-year-long trip to Europe. And when he was in Europe, he tried to join like the French Foreign Legion. They didn't want him. And he came back to the US because luckily for him, the Iraq War started, and he decided, this is a quote by the way, the Iraq War was my war. That's what he said. He just really wanted to go to war and kill people. He has also said that the reason why he joined the US military was because he wanted to have an adventure and kill people, and he got to do both. So he joined the military. He got deployed to Iraq, where he specifically asked to be put into combat. He specifically asked for that, by the way. He really wanted it. He participated in the defense of the notorious Abu Ghraib torture prison from Iraqi resistance fighters who were trying to liberate the people who they were torturing there. In like the borderline genocidal American campaigns in Fallujah and Ramadi, all that sort of stuff. And he went back, signed up over and over again. At some point, he got a Nazi tattoo, like a skull and a Nazi SS skull and crossbones totem calf on his chest. He said that he got it to celebrate what he did in Fallujah. You know, he went back over and over and over again, murdering people. He fucking loved it. He said the only reason why he ended up leaving the military is because eventually, when you're in the military for a really long time, they promote you out of combat roles. They take you out of combat. And he said there's no way for you to stay in a combat role while still getting a pay rise. So he decided to leave. He really wanted to keep killing people firsthand. So then he got gifted, like a family friend just gave him a fucking oyster farming business. He owns an oyster farming business now. Just a family friend gave him that. He had opportunities to like go to university. He decided he didn't want to go to university because, you know, he had like the GI Bill and all that shit. He went to George Washington University on a full ride scholarship, but he decided that it wasn't for him. He wanted to go back. He joined up again. He went to Afghanistan to fucking murder people because that was what was really for him. And then he signed up for Blackwater. This guy has spent basically his entire adult life murdering brown people for the US empire and loving every second of it. While, you know, he has financial security because his parents are rich. And getting paid for the privilege, getting given, like, tons of money for the privilege. Fucking great, right? This is someone no one on the left who's even remotely anti-imperialist should ever even think about supporting. This is like basically inviting like a fucking SS officer to be your candidate for Senate. Or like a fucking IDF veteran of 20 years to be your candidate for Senate. Holy fuck. No. It's the exact same thing. This guy is a mass murdering psychopath. And supporting this guy from the left sends a message to them that you don't give a flying fuck about them in reality, and that as long as someone says that they will support policies that benefit Americans, that, to be clear, they're never going to actually do. Like, there's a difference in rhetoric and action. This guy can say whatever he wants. He's never going to do any of it. He's never going to get you even the treats that you're like looking past his mass murder of people outside of the US for. You're never going to get them. He's controlled opposition. You're never getting any of the shit that he's promising you. Give us a break. But the way they talk about this, it's like, we are Americans and we forgive this American for murdering people who aren't Americans because he promises to advocate for benefits for us if he's elected. That's all it takes for them. That's all it takes. And imagine the perception that this causes, right? Like, it's not even just that. It's not even like an individualistic moral thing. Like, imagine the message that this sends to the people of the world when you're willing to accept this guy as your representative. Not just that, but outright support him. Imagine the message that it sends to other Americans on imperialism when it's time for you to take a stance against someone who is a committed, genocidal imperialist who chose to do it firsthand because he loved it so much for 15, 20 years. And you immediately just accept him. No questions asked. He's never even apologized for any of what he did. He doesn't even think he did anything wrong. What does that say to them? It's what it says to them is ultimately that, imperialism is not that big of a deal. Mass murder is not that big of a deal. We can look past it as long as the culprit promises to benefit us. And we can look past it as long as the culprit promises to benefit us. Ultimately, imperialism is not that big of a deal. Apologize for any of what he did. He doesn't even think he did anything wrong. What does that say to them? It's what he did. Just accept him. No question. Committed, genocidal imperialist who chose to do it firsthand because he loved it so much for 15, 20 years. And you immediately just accept him. No questions asked. He's never even apologized for any of what he did. He doesn't even think he did anything wrong. What does that say to them? It's what it says to them is ultimately that, imperialism is not that big of a deal. Mass murder is not that big of a deal. We can look past it as long as the culprit promises to benefit us. And that's the mentality that Mike from PA operates on. Also, by the way, Graham Plattner's brother is Seth Fransman. All of this, as I said, all of the evidence for everything that I'm saying here is in the video. So go check that out if you really want like a real video of substance. with all the proof of what I'm saying here. But his brother is Seth Fransman, like an Israeli with ties to the Israeli government who does pro-Israel propaganda, like pro-genocide propaganda, and he has ties to the Israeli government. He's met with the fucking Israeli president before. He's given talks for AIPAC. Like, this is the fishiest shit ever. This is just literally the fishiest shit ever. It's crazy. Like, these are people who would, like, cancel someone they don't like over, like, a poorly worded tweet. But for Graham Plattner, they're willing to forgive him mass murdering Iraqis and Afghans. Just because he's like the same level of American chauvinist nationalist mass murderer that they are. It's fucking crazy. Anyway, so as I said, check out my main channel video if you want the evidence of everything that I just said. Now, let's get down to Mike from PA claiming that the guy who I just described to you is based. Now, let's see the cool clip that he chooses to lead with here.
He is hitting the litmus test that I want him to hit. Hack the Supreme Court.
There is structural...
The fucking cool music in the background, he's hitting the litmus test that I want him to hit. Apparently not the not killing children litmus test, though. I guess that's not one for you.
Power in the Senate to deal with the Supreme Court.
Cut off aid to Israel.
And the fact that it
He's not going to do any of this.
is being done by bombs that are built in...
What is this? This is like a fucking... like fan edit of like that you would make for like Taylor Swift or something. Oh my god.
This country, and it needs to end.
I'm not sure if I've seen a better answer on the future of America's relationship with Israel.
It's all fucking rhetoric and they're falling for it 100%. All in the fucking name of getting a fucking mass baby killer into the fucking American Senate so that he can then mislead people, sheepdog people into the fucking Democrats.
That doesn't excite you. What are you even here for?
If electing a mass baby killer doesn't excite you, what are you even here for?
But to make that happen, we need to elect people...
This is incredible. Oh my god, look at this shit.
...who understand that power matters, that it's real, and you...
Is he getting paid for this? If not, this is pathetic. Oh my god, he has to be getting paid for this.
...can use it...
Based! I don't...
Oh my god, look at this shit.
...who understand that power matters, that it's real, and you...
Is he getting paid for this? If not, this is pathetic. Oh my god, he has to be getting paid for this.
...can use it...
Based! I don't...
This guy just screams based at the most surface level shit imaginable. Like, this is who these people are. This is who these people who are trying to sheepdog you into the Democratic Party are. They will point to rhetoric only. They will be mesmerized by the simplest, most obvious empty promises ever that the people who are making them obviously don't even have the means to like actually implement them. Let alone will they even advocate for them on these strong terms once they're even in office, or on terms even near as strong as they're claiming now once they're in office. Once they're in office, they're not beholden to you or anyone. They're going to neuter themselves 100%. Like, look at Zoran Mamdani and what happened with him and his stance on Israel. Same shit's gonna happen. Like, if your political analysis is, this politician says things that I like, he's based, he's epic, he's so good, I love him so much, I think you're a fucking child. Okay? You are just a fucking... You're either a child, you're doing it deliberately. You're being paid to do it deliberately to mislead people. Very likely. These people are mesmerized by the emptiest words ever being said because the consulting firm Fight Agency told him to say this. He's not even speaking his own mind here. Fucking a consultancy firm is dictating his platform and his speech and everything about him. And guess who's falling for it 100%? It's Mike from PA.
Trust Plattner, bro. I don't trust Bernie Sanders. First time in politics? The difference...
I don't trust him. You don't trust him, but you call him based and make a hype fucking fan cam of him.
Graham Plattner is saying what we want to say in a purple state. This is another point you f***ers don't seem to understand. We don't have senators this good from California. We don't have senators this good from New York. We don't have senators this good from anywhere. He's saying the shit we want him to say. We have CIA agents who are actively arguing in favor of genocide in the...
How could you possibly denounce someone for being a CIA agent when you're okay with Graham Plattner? He and the CIA were partners. They were equal fucking partners in everything they did. Like, how could you denounce a CIA agent for what she did in Iraq and Afghanistan while you're screaming at the top of your lungs about how good Graham Plattner is? And he really is screaming.
It's Democratic Party, and you're saying you don't...
You mean equal fucking partners in everything they did. Like, How could you denounce a CIA agent for what she did in Iraq and Afghanistan while you're screaming at the top of your lungs about how good Graham Plattner is? And he really is screaming.
It's Democratic Party. And you're saying you don't trust Graham Plattner? Get your shit together.
Now is the height of horror. And the fact that it is being done by bombs that are built in this country and paid for with our tax dollars is utterly unconscionable. And it needs to end.
News broke yesterday that
All pure
Graham
rhetoric.
Plattner's opponent in the primary, the
This is Emma Vigilant, by the way. When it's in the main channel video, go check it if you want to see it. When Graham Plattner said that he was in Blackwater. By the way, new thing came out. I'll throw that in here. New revelation regarding Graham Plattner and Blackwater came out. But Emma Vigilant said, like, her justification was, when you leave the military, you have no skills. What else are you supposed to do aside from sign up again to fucking murder more people? What are you supposed to do? Like, go to university with your GI Bill privileges? No! Fucking murder people more. Go back and kill more brown people for money. That was what she said, literally. So, there was a local news article from 2009, I believe, about Graham Plattner and his Blackwater hat. This was 10 years before he actually joined Blackwater himself, by the way. And after this, he re-enlisted twice. It was an article about, like, a little puff piece about this local soldier in Ellsworth who's a really nice guy. He survived the mean streets of the frontline cities of Iraq as a machine gunner, by the way. A machine gunner. This guy's job was to mow down children. U.S. Marine Corps machine gunner Graham Plattner says he wears his Blackwater baseball cap just to get a rise out of those who remember the controversial contractor for its heavy-handed tactics. That is incredible whitewashing of the mass murder and genocide they committed. But there is Graham Plattner with his Blackwater cap. This is who Mike from PA thinks is based. Just because he promises like a bunch of domestic policy things that he's never even going to remotely be able to affect and that he's going to stop advocating for the second he gets in office as strongly as he is now. Obviously, that's what they do. That's the whole point of people like Graham Plattner, to mislead people into thinking that they have someone in the Democrats that's already doing what needs to be done for them so they don't need to try and do anything else. That's the whole point of him and everyone who supports him, like Mike from PA, Hassan Piker's waiting room.
Governor Janet Mills, it has dropped out of the April 11th debate that she is supposed to be having with Graham Plattner and then the other kind
now,
of...
I want to see here, does he say anything about the military stuff? Does he mention Blackwater? No mention of Blackwater. Does he mention military? Okay, he mentions here the military. What does he say?
Deplatformed, which is a different thing. That's where you lose access to your megaphone. In that case, that does real damage. And like, obviously Graham Plattner did some dumbass shit. And yes, going into the military.
Just dumbass fucking shit.
Yes,
He's a mass murderer. He's literally a verified mass murderer who says he loved it and has never expressed any remorse for it at all.
Military committed a lot of crimes
and his platform is still based around strengthening the U.S. military, by the way.
overseas. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. But you know what? You know who, like, if you look at history, many left-wing leaders did evil imperialist shit earlier in their lives, and that changed them, and that caused them to see it a different light and have go in opposition to the empire.
Okay, so who are you talking about? Name names, because I guarantee you it's not even remotely the same thing. Like someone being, say, a conscripted soldier for an imperialist army, and then coming to denounce that imperialism afterwards, actually, and like regretting what they did, isn't the same thing as Graham Plattner at all. Graham Plattner talks about what he did, like, fondly. He talks about how much he loves it, how he would love to go back if possible, and he's never apologized for it. He's never even given an inkling of the fact that he bears any personal responsibility for murdering Afghans and Iraqis in their own countries, for invading and destroying those countries. And if we look at his platform, it's not like he's renounced any of it. It's not like he's changed or anything. If you look at his platform, he thinks that people like him, veterans, should have more benefits. One of his policy priorities is to defend the VA and support veterans. He wants there to be more incentives for Americans in the military, okay? He wants them to be paid more. He says pay servicemen a fair wage. He wants American fucking soldiers to be given more, even more incentive to join. And he has a pledge to rebuild American shipbuilding, to make the US military its use of resources more efficient. He has a pledge here: send me to Washington and I will work tirelessly to rebuild the American military. So you're claiming that he's like someone who is reformed. Someone who is reformed would not have signed up 4 times more after the first tour. He would be apologetic about what he did, not celebratory. And he would certainly not have a pledge in his political platform to send him to Washington so that he can tirelessly rebuild the American military. What you're saying isn't fucking true. Now, look at this next thing he says.
About the Carnation Revolution in Portugal. That was a revolution by the military against the fascist government made up of military officers who are leftists.
That's not true at all. What happened with the Carnation Revolution was that the Portuguese were defeated militarily in their colonies to the point that the military didn't want to fight anymore. It wasn't like some sort of revolution. They were defeated in the colonies. You're lying completely about this. Like, comparing Graham Plattner to that, what the fuck are you talking about? He's running for US Senate on a pledge to rebuild the US military, and you're acting like he's going to carry out a revolution by referencing something that wasn't an example of an imperialist military engaging in a revolution at all. Venezuela.
I mean, it's just like, what are we
Venezuela? What about Venezuela? Give us your comparison.
even saying here? It's just nonsensical.
So it's not nonsensical. What you're saying is fucking stupid.
We have to ask ourselves is, what's more important? Performatively lashing out at Graham Plattner or stopping America's wars abroad? And
by tolerating someone like Graham Plattner, upholding him as like a tenant of the left, you're fucking supporting America's wars abroad, not just because his platform explicitly does that, but because you're instilling in people the idea that it's okay to join the military, that you don't bear any responsibility for it, that it's okay to do mass murder and suffer no consequences for it, not even apologize for it and be accepted into the fold of the left. That helps to enable precisely what you claim to be against, okay? Does he mention Plattner in the military at all? Again? Here he mentions it again. Let's see his defense of Graham Plattner's military service.
Unironically, men like Graham Plattner, like a lot of, it's so funny because you have Graham Plattner, say the same people that are hyperventilating about Graham Plattner, that it's like, talk about Hugo Chavez. Hugo Chavez was a colonel in the military, the Venezuelan military. You know, like, it is what it is. Military left-wingers are just part of the thing. It is what it is.
No, it's fucking not. Hugo Chavez was in the Venezuelan military. Is the Venezuelan military like a serious imperialist military that goes abroad and commits genocide? Fucking no, it's not. It's not even remotely the same fucking thing. These things aren't even on the same planet. It's not the same thing to be in the Cuban military as it is to be in the fucking US military, let alone to actually get deployed 5 times. He specifically sought out deployment. He said he wanted to go to combat. He signed up when the Iraq war started because he wanted to go to Iraq and be in combat. And he signed up 4 more times to go there and genocide people, to fucking murder people, to destroy their country and get paid for it just because he liked it. And you're comparing that to someone in like the Venezuelan military. Or like the Cuban military. It's the same thing. No, it's fucking not. It's not the same thing to have fought for the Nazis as it was to have fought against the Nazis, you fucking crazy fucker. What a ridiculous comparison. He's like Hugo Chavez. Oh my god. Ugh. Like, I'm not watching all of it because it's just him talking about how supposedly base this guy is. We saw, like, the extent of Mike from PA's analysis and logic in the fucking fan cam edit they made in the first 30 seconds. He just says base to things. No, there's no critique. There's no looking beyond the surface. There's no 2 neurons connecting. It's just, based. There's surely nothing untoward behind this, like the consulting firm that got Fetterman elected. There's surely not a secret Israeli government-linked brother who's also working on his campaign. There's nothing weird about any of this. Even apart from the military stuff, like, this guy glows as much as anyone has glowed in history. And this guy does not look beyond the surface at all. Now, I have a broader video about the fight agency stuff and how they are pushing candidates like Graham Plattner in this video that I made called Beware Fight Agency on this channel that you're on now. So search this channel for this video if you want to see that. And I go over how they've been looking for people to specifically mold for their purposes, to sheepdog people into the Democratic Party, to make them feel like the Democratic Party is doing everything that needs to be done so they don't try to do anything themselves. The point of someone like Graham Plattner is to save the Democrats from a wave of anti-Zionist sentiment, from a wave of anti-establishment sentiment. Not to actually meaningfully try to implement policy that you want in any way, shape, or form. And even apart from that, even if this wasn't the case, it'd be unacceptable. No left-wing people should be rallying behind someone like this. Someone who should be in a fucking jail cell for the rest of their lives, or not being elected as a representative of the left without even having so much as feigned an apology for the war crimes they committed, for the genocide they committed, for the children they massacred. That's not even getting into the fact that Graham Plattner was saying like 5 years ago on Reddit that women who were raped deserved it. That women who were raped just lie about being raped because they regret it afterwards. Which I'm not saying can never happen, but he clearly meant it in a general way, and specifically in responding to a case of rape in the American military. These are people who would cancel me because I made a joke about 9/11 being good once, but they will literally have zero standards for an actual political candidate who has said things a billion times worse than me or anyone else has ever said. Like, their standards for people who should be held to the highest standard, actual straight-up political leaders, is zero. They would accept a mass murderer, like a serial killer. Like, Graham Plattner could murder someone tomorrow in the street, execution style, on video, and they would still advocate for voting for him and supporting him. Not just voting for him, but also like outright saying his base and supporting him and such. Provided that he kept saying he'd be giving them universal healthcare. It's fucking crazy and wild. The standard is zero. It's nothing. So yeah, I just wanted to cover this, like another fucking person just abandoning any modicum of like trying to move the needle on American imperialism and on the soldiers who carry it out, just because a consulting firm told a guy they found in Maine to say things that sound good to him without even a slight ounce of criticism or even a slight like examination of this guy's history, of what he advocates for now, of has he ever apologized for any of it? Has he ever actually reflected on any, meaningfully on what it meant for the victims? No, obviously. But yeah, like, they're lying about him, they're glossing over the true extent of his crimes. I'll give you a comparison here, okay? There is currently a guy running for governor in California who has a sex scandal going on where he like sexually harassed some people or something. So it's governor candidate Eric Swalwell. He's facing serious allegations of sexual assault and misconduct, and for this, he's probably going to drop out. Like, this is bad enough to ruin his campaign, right? What Graham Plattner did is at least as bad as that. And these people support him 100% when they would never support like someone who had allegations like that against them. Why is that? Why is it? Well, it's because Graham Plattner murdered foreigners. He raped foreigners. He ruined the countries of foreigners, and he loved every second of it. He said multiple times he enjoyed it. The way he talks about it, it was like a sex thing for him, honestly. Like, he got off on it. But he did it to foreigners, so it's okay. Eric Swalwell did it to Americans, so it's wrong, and he shouldn't be supported because of it. That's the mentality for them. It's purely American supremacism, American chauvinism. Basically, Mike from PA, a guy without his own ideology, without his own thoughts, without his own feelings. Everything that he does is just to suck up to Hassan Piker. The reason why he supports Graham Plattner is basically because Hassan Piker does, and the only way that he gets views is occasional bleed from Hassan Piker's viewers who want to watch something before Hassan Piker goes online. So obviously that's why he does this. But broadly, the reason why Hassan does it and everyone else does it is just American supremacism, American chauvinism. It's okay to commit crimes against non-Americans, so they will never, ever do anything about that. Hassan Piker completely disassociated from his friend Lol Overruled because he sent like sexually harassing text messages to women fans. We have Graham Plattner, who mass murdered and raped Iraqis for nearly 20 years and who loved every second of it, who's never apologized for it, who wants to rebuild the US military and give people like him even better wages for committing crimes against people in the third world. And Hassan Piker doesn't just not disassociate from him, but he supports him, and he wants him to become a left-wing political leader. That says it all. That says it all. I don't need to say anything else. It's fucking obvious what is happening here. I want to do an Israeli Hebrew language media review. I want to go over one or two articles that I found crazy from the Israeli media. So I'm going to do it, okay? Now, the first one that we're going to be looking at here from Israeli Hebrew language media outlet Ynet. What do you imagine that this translates into? What would you imagine that these Hebrew alphabet characters translate into? Trust me, whatever you're thinking, you would never imagine what you're about to see. It's nothing like what you could ever imagine, okay? It's absolutely nothing like it. Here we go. Oh, here we go, guys. Open your mouth wide. Here comes the airplane of Hebrew language media, what they hide from us when they talk among themselves. I knew I wanted to get pregnant from the sperm of my late brother-in-law. I knew I wanted to get pregnant from the sperm of my late brother-in-law. I knew I wanted to get pregnant from the sperm of my late brother-in-law. I knew I wanted to get pregnant from the sperm of my late brother-in-law. Mazel tov, welcome to Israel. So this is an article referencing the Israeli practice where when their soldiers die, they have like a special military unit dedicated to extracting their sperm so that they can then inseminate their wives or perhaps someone else with the sperm of the fallen soldier. They like jack off the corpse and make it come with a special jacking off corpse machine. So a military unit dedicated to extract an article referencing the Israeli practice where when their soldiers die, they have like a special military unit dedicated to extracting their sperm so that they can then inseminate their wives or perhaps someone else with the sperm of the fallen soldier. They like jack off the corpse and make it come with a special jacking off corpse machine. Because that, you know, it's like weird, like Nazi racial bloodline purity shit. So apparently, fitness coach Licky Rosenberg Michali had no plans to have more children. But then her brother-in-law, an advanced sergeant major, Omri Michali, was murdered on the 7th of October. Wait, what? He was a sergeant major in the Israeli military and he was murdered on October 7th? That doesn't add up. How is a soldier murdered in combat? Oh my god. And this is an article about how she wanted to get pregnant from her brother-in-law. Not her husband, her brother-in-law. She wanted his sperm in her immediately. The second that he died, she knew that she wanted his sperm. Listen to this line. I knew from the beginning that I wanted to be pregnant with my brother-in-law's child. The craziest thing about this article is that she got advice from fucking Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot said to her, have another child. Don't give up, have another child. Fucking, she was convinced to impregnate herself with the sperm from her IDF soldier brother-in-law, which was jacked off out of him by the IDF sperm extraction unit by Israeli actress in like Marvel movies or whatever it is, superhero movies, Gal Gadot. I've never heard of a more Israeli story in my life. Holy fuck. Incredible. Now, there is another Israeli news story that I also wanted to cover that I'm going to throw in here while I'm covering the Israeli news stories that they hide from us in Hebrew. Make sure to become a member, by the way, to thank me for this sort of incredible shit that I'm covering here. Oh, sorry, this one was actually published in English, though I saw it in Hebrew initially. But let's pretend that everything that I just said is still the case, just so that it fits into this video, okay? Because otherwise I probably won't cover this. Won't get a chance to cover it. Because my plan here is to lure people in with the title of this video. The title of this video is going to be, I knew I wanted to get pregnant with the sperm of my brother-in-law. That's going to be the title. It's going to be to lure people in so that they can learn about the actual real point of this video, which is an article about Israeli soldiers admitting to shooting children for fun. Okay, so this is the article. I saw the bodies of children. That's the title. It's in Haaretz. And the framing of this is that the Israeli soldiers killed children, and it's not like denouncing them for that. Rather, it's saying moral injury and mental strain breaking IDF soldiers. You know who the victim is of this child killing? It's the perpetrators. Welcome to Israel. And there is a specific quote from this article that is what I really wanted to cover here. I can't show you the article because it's paywalled for me and I can't find a paywall bypass. But this is a quote from the article. A sniper in the Nahal Brigade said, every day we have the same mission to secure the humanitarian aid in the north of the Strip. Those waiting for aid try to move forward to get a good spot in line, but there is a boundary in front of them they can't see, like an invisible line. A line that if they cross, I can shoot them, he explains. It's like a game of cat and mouse. They try to come each time from a different route, and I'm there with the sniper rifle, and the officers yell at me, take them down, take them down. I fire 50 to 60 bullets every day. That's a lot from a fucking sniper rifle. Each one of those is a place shot. I stopped counting numbers. I have no idea how many I've killed. A lot. Children. This is the Israeli media. They talk about this daily, like it's a normal thing. And then they are framed as the victims in the liberal Zionist Haaretz newspaper, favored by people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Brad Lander. Their paper of choice. Their like the paper that represents the good moral side of Israel. These people murder children, and they're the victims of that child murder that benefits them, that they get Palestinian houses from, that maintains their ethno-state. Horrible, disgusting, evil. Evil. This is what they hired from you in the Israeli media. Ignore the fact that it was in English. Anyway, yeah, those are the two stories that I wanted to cover for this segment. Hope you like them. And yeah, I mean, once I found out that my brother-in-law had been killed by the evil Hamas terrorist, I knew that I wanted to get pregnant from his sperm. That's all I have to say. My brother-in-law had been killed by the evil Hamas terrorist. I knew that I wanted to get pregnant from his sperm. That's all I have to say.
Kirk can use Candace or Dahlia. Where the fuck are you using Farina then? Okay, you mean like so you can do this? Yeah, maybe that's true. Actually, we might as well. Oh, you can't use Dahlia, but we can do Yelan. That is probably better. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, I actually like this a lot more. Now our weakest link is like Varka. No, not even. Weakest link is Klee now, I think. Wait, no, we nerfed the Zabai team. We nerfed the Flynn's team. It might be one of these then. Yeah, I think this is way better. Yeah, so I guess Moloni goes number 1. Is that true? Nefer number 2. I mean, I'm not sure which of these two is higher, actually. Would Nefer be higher? I'm pretty sure right now Nefer is higher, but this is assuming next patch with the witch buff. Like the Hexarai support set for Mona. And I think that's enough for Moloni to be slightly higher. But it's close. It's Pyro MC though, yeah. The problem with Pyro MC isn't that it's bad, is that it's fucking cringe as hell to play. I thought Bina-less Nefer is 100k. Okay, it is not. You're thinking of Bina-less Flynn's. All of these team are around the same amount, actually. I think this is the third best one. Or maybe it's Mawika. Like, the best one here is like 130 something, and the worst one is like 110, I think. Is Flynn's really that cooked without Ino? Oh no, Flynn's would be here with Ino as well. We managed to nerf our best teams enough that the gap, and like buff our worst teams enough that the gap between the best and worst here is like not that big. It's like a 15k DPS difference, I think, between the best and worst team here. You could tell me that this team is